Grain prices ended last week higher, but got off to a rough start on Monday. What's ahead for this week as the nation battles more cold weather? Michelle Rook asks a question in Markets Now.
Well, grains were lower to start the week with the cattle market to the plus side. Sam Hudson is joining us with analysis. Okay, we had higher weekly closes last week in the grains, but we couldn't add on to that. Did we just run up into chart resistance? Was that just profit taking, Sam?
Well, I think that's part of it. We've got a situation where you just kind of chopped around after that report. We're still seeing a hangover from that January data set from USDA. And I would say it was more detrimental than, to corn than even soybeans just on paper. And so after a week of inability to continue lower, I think you did see some shorts come into the market, some bottom pickers. We saw some really big flash sales as well. And I think that continues to underscore the fact that, demand is still very strong in here and we can continue to increase the supply side. But in the short term, you don't really see any, dates on the horizon that we can really change that up or down. I think that's going to leave demand in the driver's seat. But as long as we've got enough sitting, it has to be a South American problem to really stoke prices to get a big rally.
I was going to say last week we did put a little weather premium in, but apparently the market feels like we've got enough in.
For now, for the supplies you have written down, Argentina's crop ratings have really declined over the last 2 or 3 weeks, mostly on the heels of some dry weather, but they have started out the season quite a lot better than what we've seen the last 5 or 10 years. And on top of that, the demand we've already got is firing pretty strong. I don't know that you can claim that, a supply glitch there can necessarily add demand to our balance sheet. It seems like we're running at max capacity as is.
And you don't feel like the outside market nervousness tied to the Canadian tariffs really spilled over?
I don't think so. I think we know enough about where we sit. I don't think enough can change there to really change, our landscape or provide a jolt to the market. I would say you got to keep an eye on the currency values, the way the dollar's been plummeting and people are, kind of piling, into metals now to treasuries. I think that's a short-term, aberration here, kind of a herd mentality. And I think that can actually help us if it continues that way, as we start to compete with those South American supplies ahead of spring.
Cattle market, an update, pushed by cash?
I think generally speaking, we had the cattle on feed report last week that offered just enough for both sides that I don't think you can really take the ball and run with it either way. And the fact that front end is still very strong, really seeing some very impressive prices paid at the sale barn. I think that's what helps buoy things in the short term.
Appreciate your time. Sam Hudson with Corn Belt Marketing, and that's Markets Now.